Good day to you, folks of YouTube. I am your host, Vert343, back again to figure out exactly why there are EVIL Night Sentinels all of a sudden, and to figure out who exactly has command of these Red Sentinels. As always, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and shotgun blast that bell icon to see more from me, and with that, on with the video. Obviously, the Slayer does not lead the EVIL Sentinels, unlike the actual good Night Sentinels, but we do have three actual candidates for the leader of the EVIL Sentinels. The first is the voice which talks over the footage showcasing the EVIL Sentinels, which sounds like a less robotic Samuel Hayden, and may in fact be Samuel Hayden but in a biological body and corrupted. The second is the Marauder, who calls the Slayer a usurper and a false idol. Interestingly, he has a red dot on his chest in a matching position with that of the Doomslayer and the Throne Guy. The third and honestly weirdest candidate is the Kahn Makyr, who was shown directly after the EVIL Sentinels for only a handful of frames, and is also kind of orchestrating a bit of everything. Let's chop these down one at a time, starting with Samuel Haybale. Given that Hayden's robotic body is now a robotic corpse and has therefore been decommissioned, it is reasonable to assume that he was transferred back to a biological form of some sort, and then likely corrupted by the demons as a result of this. However, his lines speaking over the footage of the EVIL Sentinels sound more like the UAC in Doom 2016 than the UAC in Doom Eternal, and really don't match so much with the attitude of everybody else we can link with the EVIL Sentinels and the Slayer, which is much more angry than Hayden's voice comes across. Overall, I think that it is unlikely that Hayden is not only working for the demons, but also leading the EVIL Sentinels, since his profession is more science than military. Second choice is the Kahn Makyr, but indirectly. Before you crucify me, hear me out on this one. I think that the Kahn Makyr could be indirectly influencing the tactics and movements of the EVIL Sentinels in an effort to put a stop to the Slayer's reign of terror, as he likely doesn't wish to fire upon them as they were once his allies. This, although seemingly out of character, would make sense, as the Makyr almost certainly wants rid of the Slayer. Last but almost certainly not least is the Marauder, who is actually a pretty viable candidate, sharing the red dot on the left breastplate that seems to be associated with Sentinel leaders, not to mention that he calls the Slayer a usurper, which in this case likely means to take a position of power by force, because he likely did something along the lines of showing better knowledge of how to defeat demons than the Marauder did, which could in Sentinel culture mean that the Slayer becomes the quote-unquote rightful ruler of their society, assuming they are warlike, which they do look to be. We are going to be making the assumption that the Marauder is the main commander of the EVIL Sentinels from here on out. We are also going to be assuming that the Night Sentinels are a warlike faction. Also, a quick reminder that from here on out is pretty much just speculation, because we really don't have any concrete evidence as to why they exist. Hell, we've barely even seen them, but I still have an idea as to why. The EVIL Sentinels exist because of the Doomslayer. Before you tell me I'm a heretic worth being purged in unholy fire for saying that, hear me out. In my opinion, the Doomslayer is the only root cause of the EVIL Sentinels existing, but also likely the reason the Night Sentinels continue to exist. At some point during his long battle in Hell, the Slayer found himself on Sentinel Prime, a planet bustling with life at the time he arrived. He was apprehended at the gates, brought in to their leader to see what was to be done. He made his claim. He was a man of great capability, the capability to slaughter demons for eons with no rest, no respite, and most importantly, no remorse. He likely made a deal with the Sentinels, a few days of respite for some of his knowledge of combat or something of similar meaning. During this time there was likely an attack, a horde of demons pounding against the gates of Sentinel Prime's greatest city. The Slayer suited up, agreeing to help squash the invasion, and such he did. His prowess was greater than the Sentinels could have ever imagined. The demons cowered in fear at the mere sight of the Hellwalker, trembled at every single blast of his mighty 12-gauge, and ran at the sight of his crucible. Within hours, a horde that may have previously taken days to drive back was brought to its knees, begging for mercy enough to return from whence it came. The Slayer showed no mercy, slaughtering every single demon that remained of that horde with extreme, unfettered, unrivaled prejudice. He came back hailed a hero. Word of mouth spread quickly about the saviour of Sentinel Prime, who crushed an entire horde under his mighty armour, demolished many demons with his adamantine will and seemingly magical weaponry. At first, everyone, including the leadership of Sentinel Prime, hailed the Slayer a hero. Many wanted to honour this great man however they could, and it quickly spiralled out of control. By popular vote, the Slayer was installed as the new leader of the Night Sentinels, voted in by those who saw or heard first-hand accounts of his rampage against the unholy horde. Their old leader fled the planet quickly, with his closest supporters and those who did not trust in the Slayer quickly following suit. Although few in number, the loss made Sentinel Prime a little less bustling, although still very much alive and well. The relatively small group who followed their previous leader's fates were at his mercy. His leadership was all they ever knew, and they followed it until the bitter end. At first they fought, surviving as best they could, making it through with minimal losses. Unfortunately, the leader's son was killed by a lucky imp. It was around this time that their argent spears began to run dry of power, becoming little more than glorified staves. The leader was hell-bent on revenge until one smart demon made him an offer. He offered eternity to the leader, a life freed from the constant war they were stuck under at the moment, with his son back as an added bonus. He didn't spend long thinking it over. His son was the most important thing he ever had, and he wanted him back more than he wanted anything else. He accepted the offer, bringing upon the realm of hell the Marauder, a sentinel leader turned demonic force of intimidation, and the EVIL Sentinels. Though as always, this is just a theory. A doom theory. Thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and BFG blast that bell icon if you want to see more from me. I have been your host, Vert343, signing off. Peace out, gentlemen.